Welcome everyone to the Township Council meeting, Monday, January 27th, 2025. This meeting is now called to order. It'd be our honor if the staff sergeant would come up and lead us in the flag salute, if you don't mind. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. Madam Clerk, please read the statement of public notice.
Take notice that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with NJSA 10:4-8 and NJSA 10:4-10 as follows. A notice of the meeting was prominently posted on the bulletin board at the municipal building located at 225 Main Street, Little Falls, New Jersey on January 7th, 2025. A copy of the notice was sent to the North Jersey Herald and News and the Record on the same date. Additionally, a copy of the notice was filed in the office of the Township Clerk on said date. A link and a telephone number to join the meeting virtually can be accessed on the Township website at www.lfnj.com. Electronic provisions have been established for the public to participate during the public comment portion of the meeting.
Thank you. At this time, please call the roll.
Councilmember Patel.
Present.
Councilmember Murphy.
Present.
Councilmember Havlet.
Present.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Present.
Council President Scoba.
Present. Mr. Kurtron, can you please turn the podium around so we can do this presentation? At this time, if the Sergeant First Class Paul Paronia and his colleague, if you would come up and tell us a little bit about yourselves and do the presentation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sergeant First Class Pariota Paul, and I've been a resident of Little Falls for a few years now, almost a decade. And this is my friend, Staff Sergeant Senago Juan, and we are active military members of the New Jersey National Guard, and we have served multiple deployments overseas in combat. And just recently of last year, we decided to fly a special flag and to dedicate it to the Township of Little Falls. And then we have presented this flag for everyone here for the township to represent our commitment and to the military and signify what is true to us, and that's fighting for the American flag. And if you guys would like to accept this presentation from us to you guys, and hopefully you guys can fly with honor.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Everybody to report it out here. Together.
If there's no objections, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of December 16, 2024, the workshop meeting, January 6, 2025, and the reorganization meeting, January 6, 2025.
So moved.
Moved by
Councilwoman Hablitz, second by Councilman Murphy. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Patel,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy.
Yes.
Councilmember Havlet.
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery,
Yes.
Council President Scoba.
Yes, Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. I'm honored to be here again this evening to present the 2025 State of the Township. And first and foremost, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the residents of this great town for providing me with the opportunity to serve as your mayor for another 4 years. I remain humbled by the support and encouragement I receive on a daily basis from residents who are pleased with the direction of the municipality over the past 8 years. I'd also like to take this opportunity to congratulate Council President Anthony Scoba and Councilwoman Christine Hablitz on the success of their reelection. I'm confident that with their support, the residents of Little Falls will continue to see progress made here in Little Falls. In 2024, we had a lot happen here in town. One major project was the completion of the new and improved Wilmore Park Playground. It was incredible to see how much use it had over this past summer, and I look forward to hundreds of kids making memories there for years to come. And while these projects are not yet completed, and while we await the installation of street signs and decorative lights, our streetscape was expanded up Stevens Ave. The PNC parking lot was expanded to now hold nearly 100 cars to address the frequent parking concerns that I've heard for years about our downtown.
That mic's not on there. I don't think the mic is picking me up here.
And the long-awaited traffic light in the intersection of Francisco Ave and Cedar Grove Road was finally installed. In 2018, following my second year as mayor, I was ecstatic to announce that the township received a record-breaking $900,000 of grant funding. This past year, in 2024, the township received $1,675,522 in grant funding to help offset costs of projects like those just mentioned, as well as some of these grants that help purchase dozens of new sets of fireman turnout gear, provided various types of overtime for police department enforcement, as well as purchase trees and flowers to help beautify our town, just to name a few. This past year, our police department, led by Chief Brian Prawl, was awarded a reaccreditation after a grueling renewal process. This means that the police department has proven that best practices are being followed, and as a result, insurance costs to the township are lower because the liability the township faces as a result of these best practices being followed has been reduced. Our police department had 40,002 calls for service in 2024 and had 8,755 motor vehicle stops. Their patrol division drove a total of 136,428 miles. That's enough to drive around the Earth's equator over 5 times. Or imagine taking a road trip to the moon and back, and then halfway there again. This year, Corporal John Vanek also instituted the police department's first ever Senior Police Academy. Attendance was great, and the several-week program was informative for all of our seniors who attended. I know there's already excitement in the air for what's to come in the following years for this program. With respect to our fire department, led by Chief Ken Sitchie, over the past year, the fire department responded to 521 calls. There were 6 major fires in the township, and the fire department provided mutual aid on 5 other occasions, one of them to West Milford when the wildfires were spreading across New Jersey in the late fall. The fire department also purchased 12 sets of swift water rescue gear and 5 new thermal imaging cameras to be placed on all of our fire trucks throughout town. This past year, our building department, led by James D. Maria, issued hundreds of permits and performed hundreds of inspections. And there were also 810 buildings inspected to ensure fire code compliance. In 2024, the Little Falls Ambulance Service responded to more than 1,600 calls for service under the direction of EMS Coordinator Mike Bandersky. They also continue to provide service to our hundreds of summer campers and assist each year in all of the big gatherings such as Girl Show, summer football tournaments, and our annual holiday parade. Under Recreation Director Tyler Passero, as I stated earlier, this year, we completed the playground at Wilmore Park with an exciting upgrade that includes the installation of a brand new state-of-the-art playground. This all-inclusive play area features innovative equipment designed to stimulate both physical and creative development for children of all ages. From sensory-rich textures to accessible swings and slides, it's a place where every child can feel welcome and have fun, while parents can relax knowing their little ones are playing in a safe, modern space. This year, we also introduced the Run Club, which is accommodating to both seasoned marathon runners or a casual jogger. This past year, the Recreation Center saw an incredible 2,455 registrations across fall, winter, and spring sports, between a wide variety of sports and opportunities for both adults and young children to stay active and engaged in their favorite athletic activities. Over the upcoming year, the Recreation Center is looking to redesign the summer camp, as well as adding a youth volleyball program for the spring and fall, as well as a spring flag football program. In 2024, under the direction of the DPW Superintendent Ron Campbell, the township welcomed the long-awaited dumpster roll-off truck ordered the previous year. This new addition will be invaluable in managing future flooding events. While our contractors have done an excellent job, this truck gives us the flexibility to move dumpsters around town as needed, as often as required, ensuring our affected communities receive the prompt and reliable services they deserve. The DPW also added a new F-350 to its fleet, enhancing its ability to manage daily operations, including snow plowing. Our DPW team is second to none, consistently ensuring our roads are cleared and drivable within minutes of every storm's end. The DPW also planted more than 25 trees this year throughout the town to provide additional greenery to the benefit of all of our residents. The township also continued its road resurfacing program in town, and this past year, we paved more than 5 roadways which were in desperate need of resurfacing. This past year, the library added so many new programs and continue to host events such as the Garden Club, poetry readings, tea clubs, story times for preschoolers, adult coloring clubs, cooking classes, and so much more. The library also continues to offer a home book delivery service, which allows residents to receive and return books right from the convenience of their own homes. This year, I've continued to work closely with the Army Corps as they work to finalize a plan that will address and hopefully eliminate flooding caused by the Peckman River in so much of our town. Although 2024 brought many positives, the year began with a second flood in January, just after the holiday flood of 2023. This was a devastating blow for many residents. And while it was devastating to so many residents, it also highlighted the incredible resilience of our community. People came together in remarkable ways. Residents, restaurants, and countless businesses all stepped up to lend a hand and support those in need. In 2025, I look forward to continuing to improve our parks, our streetscape, and our recreation facilities throughout the town. I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly thank all of the employees of this township who work so hard each and every day to keep this town up and running, especially our business administrator, Vince Quattrone, who is my right hand on a day-to-day basis, as well as our township clerk, Cynthia Kraus, who keeps our clerk's office running smoothly. Finally, I want to thank all of you for placing your trust in me as your mayor and for your overwhelming support over the past 8 years. I've truly enjoyed each and every day that I've been fortunate enough to serve as your mayor. I also want to thank this council for their support in moving forward each and every objective that we have had as a municipality and in completing all of the projects that we have had been so successful in completing over these years. Thank you all and have a great night.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, we'll move forward with council reports. Councilwoman Patel.
Thank you, Council President. Just a few quick updates. The Public Health Committee had their first meeting on the 15th. I want to just thank everyone that came out, especially John Beagle, our health officer. Our next meeting is going to take place on March 12th. It will be here again, Town Hall at 7 p.m. I'm also working with Dr. Joe, who's a chiropractor here in Little Falls. We're going to be holding a program to help with what we call the winter blues. Due to the change in time and the sun having set earlier, there's a direct impact on one's physical and mental health. And so we're going to try to bring a program together just to provide more information, provide exercises and meditation practices that you can utilize to get over these blues. Once I solidify a date and a time, I'll let everyone know. And then finally, through the Clifton Health Department, they're offering a children's immunization clinic for anyone ages 2 months to 18 years old. If you want to make an appointment, you have to call 973 973-470-5777 or 973-470-5778. And that's free to residents of Little Falls. If anyone wants more information, they could contact me or the health department directly. And that's all I have, Council President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Havelitz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Just a few library updates. This week, they will have a poetry reading and open mic night tomorrow, January 28th at 6:30 p.m. They will also be having their monthly Boogie Woogie Babies this Friday at 10:30 a.m. That's for ages 6 months to 5 years old. You need to register at the library website. And for more information about programs that the library will be having in this next month, you can visit their social media or the library's website. It's that time of year again. It's our Little Falls Farmers Market is going to be going into its 6th season. I can't believe it. We're taking applications from vendors. Email lffarmersmarket@lfnj.com if you are looking to become a vendor for our market. Also, we're looking for local business sponsors to sponsor our market bags that can also email our market email. Tomorrow night, we'll be having our first open space meeting of the year at 7 p.m. here at Town Hall. Myself and the committee will be discussing our future park plans. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Vanchery, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Council President. We have a few updates. Set time of the year again, too, to start planning with a number of different events that take place, especially in the spring. I'm pleased to announce, and I'm just pulling all the details together with our committee. On Sunday, February 23rd, we are going to do our second annual Ramadan lighting in Wilmore Road Park. And immediately after the services, we're going to have the celebration this year at the Little Falls Rec Center. You know, last year we were in the Civic Center and we had a couple hundred people, so it was a little tight. So this year we're actually moving the event to the Rec Center. So we're just working out all the details this week where we could send out the notification with the flyer and all the details. And, you know, I'll also send an email to Mayor, DPW, and the Rec just to go over the plan for that day. And, you know, as I said, with planning some other events, it's where, you know, it'll be April, it'll be Autism Awareness Month. And then, of course, the two big events in May with the concert in the park and the Memorial Day Parade. I've already started making phone calls to secure everything and making sure I have a band. So I don't have to hear everybody on Facebook complain that I didn't have a band last year. So working on to have 6, hopefully, but getting that done too. And lastly, I just want to thank Paul Arana. You know, he's a resident in town. Paul had reached out last year and said, you know, I'd love to bring the flag here to present it to Little Falls. So grateful for doing that. Paul is always willing and able to help out. Last year at a couple of events, he was able to bring in some of the military vehicles and just do some demos and talk to some of the residents about it. So it's always nice when residents are willing and able to help out and want to give back. So just again, thank you. Very appreciative of what he brought today and looking forward to seeing it hung up on the wall this week. That's it for me.
Thank you. Councilman Murphy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. First, I'd like to thank Mayor Damiano for the state of Township. Look forward to working with you in 2025 and working on the budget this year as well. I'd also like to reiterate big thank you to Staff Sergeant Paul Perrione. I think that's a really nice gesture. You know, be able to fly the flag and bring it back is awesome, and I'm happy to see that hung in Town Hall. On the Township front, calendar should be getting mailed out in the next week or two, so definitely keep an eye out in the next 2 weeks. You should be receiving them. I know we extended it this year for 13 months. I know there's probably going to be a week or two gap, but you should be okay. Just follow the same schedule when it comes to recycling and garbage. You'll be okay for the week or two, but the calendar should be in the next 2 weeks, so keep an eye out for that. On the Domestic Violence Awareness Committee, name change, thank you, Council. We will have our monthly meeting on Tuesday, the 4th of February. Just a quick note, for February and March, we will be doing the meetings virtually. So if anybody does want to join those meetings, just shoot me an email. I'll send you out the Zoom link so you could tag along. That's all I have, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next meeting is going to be February 3rd. Prior to that meeting, Councilwoman Havelitz, you want to talk about what's going to happen prior to that meeting on February 3rd?
Yes, so prior to our meeting on February 3rd, we will be having a public hearing for one of the grants that we are applying for this year for our parks. It is an open space Green Acres grant. We will be applying to have upgrades to Amity Park, upgrading our basketball court and upgrading our tennis courts to an all-purpose court. Everyone is welcome to come to that meeting for any input that they may have. That will be at 6:30 on February 3rd.
Can you explain what Green Acres is for those that don't know?
Green Acres is a grant that is sponsored by the state for public parks and recreation.
Thank you. Counselor, do you have anything for us this evening?
Just briefly, Council President, as the council knows, we are getting closer to compliance deadlines for affordable housing. One of those items are on your agenda for tonight. And also want to give you an update with regard to the Montvale litigation. This is public record, so there's no attorney-client privilege to this, but you should all be aware that today I was informed by the lead counsel, Mike Collins, who's doing an absolutely fantastic job, really rowing upstream without any paddles. He's faced roadblocks galore in this litigation. But nevertheless, they've been unsuccessful. The original order to show cause was that would have asked for a stay of the implementation of the law, was denied at the end of December. And that order came out at the beginning of January. And now the second half of that order to show cause was also denied. They were also rejected for a stay before the appellate division. So they went right up and asked for a stay before the appellate division, and the appellate division told them no. So for those of us who are attorneys here, you know, when you don't get relief at one level, you go to the next level with the hope that they'll say, okay, let's slow down and take a look at this. That's not what the appellate division did. It's anticipated that relief will be sought before the Supreme Court. When we get an update on that, I will certainly let all of you know. The unfortunate thing is that I believe we have some very valid, pertinent, meritorious arguments to make. We just have not been able to make them because procedurally we are stymied along the way because you have these deadlines. And while there still is a trial date in the future, obviously all of these obligations are coming up in the meantime, basically rendering most of these points moot. So for tonight, you have a resolution before you, which you have to, well, you're the council, you can do with it as you wish, but it has to be presented to you for action tonight. And should you pass the resolution, within 48 hours, I have to file a declaratory judgment in essence, declaratory judgment action in the state superior court as part of this, because it has to run concurrent with the courts as well as with the program that is run through the courts. So while all this is going on, you, like other communities, are passing these resolutions. At this point, we had a meeting with Fair Share on Friday, not on this, on other things. And something like 150 towns have filed their resolutions, and they expect by tomorrow, that they'll be up to upwards of 300. So towns are filing all over the place. So meaning that they're complying with the law, and most of them are doing it as you're doing it, or I'm suggesting you do it, under protest, because the merits of your argument have not been heard. And by the way, let me just say this, our planner, John Barry, has done a yeoman's job in getting together these revised numbers. I may have talked to you about it in the past, that the numbers that the DCA had come up with used some really very interesting mapping, where they've included parts of land, they've included reservoirs, they've included, we found out they included an intersection. Last time I checked, you know, the zoning rules have changed. You can't put a house in an intersection. So because of Mr. Barry's work, That's why you have what you have before you today. Without John's work, this isn't possible. And once again, I think I've said this to you before, this is one step in a multi-step process. So you should not feel that this is the end of the situation. This is step one. As you can see from the resolution, we made it very clear about all the reservations we have and our intent to follow up on every single one of those avenues. Thank you,
Are there
Councilman.
questions from the council regarding any of those issues that the council just talked about? Chief, do you have anything for the governing body tonight?
No, sir, no report.
Thank you. Have a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy,
Second.
second by Councilman Vanchery. This is a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk.
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the council president. It is preferred if you give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the council president. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the council president will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you. The floor is open. Is there anyone in the chat? I see no hands up. Is that correct? I see no one coming before us. I'm sorry, is there? Okay. Ed, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, sir.
The floor is yours.
Okay, my name is Edward Goshingfiao, and I'm from 18 Brookside Avenue. And on Brookside Avenue, there are 10 houses. 6 of those houses have driveways, and 4 have no driveways at all. So I've lived here for 19.5 years, and we rely on parking along the east side of the road. It is 8.5 feet of dirt, where residents have been parking their vehicles for years or even decades during snowstorms. This 8.5 feet of dirt is the same portion of the road that is exempted from the overnight parking regulation. This leaves at least 22.5 feet of paved road, which is generally equivalent to a 2-lane residential road. This is more than enough for snow plows to operate. DPW has been plowing the snow on our roads successfully and with good results ever since I can remember. On Monday last week, around 5:30 a.m., 4 cars, including mine, were issued $100 parking tickets for parking on that side of the road. No warning ticket was ever issued despite residents using that portion of the road for years and years. I have a neighbor who has lived here for 60-something years and never knew that parking on that portion of the road is not allowed during snow. So thankfully, I was able to reach out to Mayor Damiano and the Chief of Police, Chief Pro, to whom I am very grateful for taking the time into looking into this and for replying to all my endless emails. According to the mayor, it would be a liability issue if vehicles are damaged during the snow removal, and that the Morris Canal parking lot has dozens of spaces available for parking during snowstorms. But what concerns the residents the most is the safety issue when we have to walk on snow or ice trying to retrieve the vehicles. Another issue is security of the vehicles while parked at the Morris Canal lot overnight, if the snow happens overnight. I am not sure if there are security cameras to monitor the parking lot. So the town is concerned of the liability issue. Meanwhile, us residents are concerned of our safety and security. So especially the houses without the driveways. So I humbly ask for your understanding and consideration to please exempt Brookside Avenue, the east side of Brookside Avenue, from this parking regulation. Thank you.
Thank you for your time this evening and bringing this issue before us. Does anyone on the dais have any comments or questions regarding what was told this evening? Mayor, I know I've been on the communication link of you and the resident. Would you like to reiterate any comments concerning the resident's issue about parking when it snows?
Sure. So first to clarify, township-wide, there is no ordinance or no obligation to not park vehicles on roadways overnight. In fact, the prior resolution or ordinance that required that has been suspended since prior to me even being elected more than 8 years ago. It was suspended as a result of Superstorm Sandy at the time, when residents were having difficulty parking as a result of the flooding. So since Superstorm Sandy, the overnight parking obligations or prohibitions have been suspended. So the portion of the roadway that this resident is referring to is actually municipal property owned and maintained by the municipality. The concern is that if vehicles are parked along this section of the roadway when plowing operations are in effect, it's the area where the plows throw their snow. There could be damage sustained by these vehicles. And of course, taking on additional liability is something that as a township, we typically attempt to avoid. We have no other roadway or area in the municipality, with the exception of our municipal parking lot, that we permit parking during snow events. So this would be a very unique situation if parking were permitted in this one particular area, because there's no other areas in town, again, with the exception of the Morris Canal parking lot, where parking is permitted during snow events.
Can you hear? Sir, can you hear me?
If that's on.
I guess he left.
No, he's there. I may not be able to.
Is he still
I
there?
have to unmute him again.
Yeah, you may have
Can-
to for him to be able to talk.
Can you unmute, sir?
There you go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you
Yes,
go.
sir, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm sorry. Did you hear what the mayor just said?
Yes, I did.
So what would you like this governing body to do after you heard what the mayor said?
Well, first of all, I'd like to have the east side of Brookside Avenue, which he said that part of the a property of the municipality, right? I'd like it to be exempted from that parking regulation during snow.
Yep.
Right. So the mayor is saying that during snowstorm, those without driveways or off-street parking should park their cars on the Morris Canal parking lot, which is half a mile from us. And the concern is us retrieving the cars when we have to walk half a mile on the snow and ice. That's the concern. So if you could please exempt the east side of Brookside Avenue from this parking regulation.
And just, sir, your home does not have a driveway, is that correct?
Yes, sir. 4 homes do not have driveways on the street.
Councilman Murphy, you have something you'd like to add?
Just an idea. Mayor, I don't know if maybe we could look into this with the DPW. I know we have that shuttle. Maybe we can coordinate a time for them to retrieve their vehicles. They don't have to walk on icy sidewalks or snowy conditions to retrieve it. Maybe just one time for pickup. Is that possible?
I can tell you during
Not
start of a snow event.
after the snow event, not during that.
So it depends on the time of day, right? And this comes down to sometimes we have a 12, 14, 16, 18-hour snow event when we have a long, protracted snowfall, where after certain numbers of hours, much like our police department, having employees driving vehicles becomes, again, a liability and a danger. And, taking necessary breaks becomes, so again, if we knew a snow event was going to be 4 hours long and we're going to have 4 inches in that period of time, coordinating something might be easier. I think the difficulty becomes so often snow is so difficult to time and
Right.
figure out that, again, it's one of those things where I don't know how we would even get that information to an email blast potentially, but get the information out about what time a shuttle might be running to, bring people back to or from the municipal lot. I understand the premise of it. I just think from a practical standpoint, how that gets coordinated would be difficult, if not impossible sometimes.
Does any other council member like to add?
Yes.
Councilman Vanchery?
Hi, and I think you can hear me. Mayor, I guess the question too is, because if we were to do an exemption, my concern is that when DPW then comes to plow on the street, they plow, and guess where all the snow is going to go? Blocking the cars. And then we're going to get a complaint about, oh, I can't get my car out. I just feel like I get the situation, but we've always had this rule where all cars have to be moved when there is snow on the ground because we pride ourselves as a town going from curb to curb, clearing out our roads to avoid those mountains that we would potentially have if we leave the cars here. I mean, I was wondering, knowing that we have this lot here and how close the street is in terms of proximity, I mean, could we have them move their cars here in this lot until the snow is removed in a timely fashion? Then it's easy for them to walk around the block, basically not too far, and come back and get the cars. I just feel like if we're going to do this exemption for one street, then it opens up Pandora's box for other residents saying, well, if they are not moving their car, then we have to do that as well. I think that's where, we run into an
To
issue.
your point, Councilman, we have a lot of homes, especially in the Singac section of town, where I know that there are 3 or 4 drivers, even 5 drivers within one household with driveways that were designed for 1 or 2 vehicles, which leaves them in a similar position. I understand that there is a vehicle that would fit in the driveway and they'd be able to drive someone back or to or from in that circumstance. So a little bit different, but we certainly have a number of households in town where there is, I'll call it inadequate parking for the number of vehicles that homes may have nowadays.
Yeah, and one other option too could be knowing that the liquor store is going to be closed usually during a snowstorm. Maybe some of the residents can move their car over there until DPW is done. I just think that if we make an exemption for one street, we open ourselves up for all kinds of problems with other streets around town.
Just to be clear, a homeowner would need to
Yeah.
make that arrangement with a
Exactly.
private
No,
business in
absolutely.
town.
That's something
I
maybe
don't
they
think
can
you
talk
can just
about.
use
Yeah, no,
private
'cause a lot of times
businesses.
they're closed and they can say, hey, park there just to remove the snow. But that's something they can look into. But I just feel like we're creating an issue if we do this for one and not everybody else.
As of tonight, we don't have any other answers for you about moving your vehicles other than what the mayor said, but the council will always take a hard look to see if there's another solution. But please continue to reach out to the mayor if you do come up with an idea that could be feasible when it snows to put your cars somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Barone, can you hear us?
I can, Council President. How are you?
Good. Good. Yourself. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Tom Barone. It is 2025 and I haven't chimed in yet. So first, I just want to thank the mayor and council for the light on Francisco and Cedar Grove Road. I see it's coming along. We're excited about that. I'm actually asking if we have an ETA on completion. I saw them doing electric work on it today. I think they're close. As well as I've been noticing a lot of site work going on in the Peckman, particularly on the east bank. It seems like they're doing some structural stone. I don't know what they're doing. Is that part of the pedestrian walkway? I was wondering. And my usual question about sidewalks on Wilmore. So the light, the Peckman Bridge, and the sidewalks on Wilmore. I was hoping for an update. Thanks, guys.
Great. All great questions. Let's start with the light. Councilman Vanchery, give us an update.
Sure. We were just talking about it prior to the start of the meeting. We know there's some work being done. The last communication we had with our engineer was that they were going to be doing some electrical work over the next few weeks. Mayor, we don't have an ETA at this point. I think it's hopefully by the end of this month, but it could bleed into February.
Right now, we're awaiting. So the work that was being done was the in-house work, meaning wiring the actual lights within the box. They are still awaiting an actual electric meter to be installed by PSE&G and the connection from the pole to the electric meter to get electric to the box. So while there was wiring happening, there's no actual electric down there to power anything up.
Yeah, and we're hoping to get an update from our engineer tomorrow because, we've been following this closely and just hoping that it comes together sooner rather than later. So we'll check in again tomorrow and we'll just follow up with you on that, Mr. Brown.
And I met with our PSE&G rep earlier today with Mr. Quattrone, and this was one of the items that we asked for him to ensure is a priority for PSE&G to get completed.
Councilman Hablitz, would you like to talk about the sidewalks on Wilmore Road that's concerning a grant or an issue I recall?
I
Yes,
think it's
Mayor,
concerning one of mine.
Mayor,
It may be-
we had the issue with the side, okay, the issue on Wilmore Road with the sidewalk.
Yeah, there's 2 parts, I think, to this question here, because the first is the grant that we received for Wilmore Road was a Safe Routes to School grant, and that is a federally funded grant. The number of issues in connecting with a lot of the surrounding municipalities with federally funded grants is the reporting requirements and the obligations to go through the engineering and providing them with reports. A lot of times, the cost to the municipality is almost more than what they award to you in the grant just to administer the grant. Fortunately, we have partnered with the county, who has some federally funded grants, one of them being the actual Peckman Bridge itself. And we have essentially partnered with them to say that they will administer the grant on behalf of the township and take care of that portion of the work. And then we will apply the grant to the actual construction of the sidewalk itself. This project, and again, I haven't spoken to the county in some time about this particular portion of the project. The grant is still there and alive. We are going to be working with the county now on the design phase and the actual construction phase. But on these federally funded grants, I know, as you are aware, the bridge has been spoken about for many, many years now, as I believe will be the case with this sidewalk as well. If I may just jump to the bridge itself and some of the recent work that was occurring within the Peckman. The work that was occurring within the Peckman on the east side there had nothing to do with the actual bridge. The work that was going on in the Peckman had to do with a pipe that is a drainage pipe that actually drains from Reiner's Road down along Cedar Grove Road, eventually runs under Cedar Grove Road, and at, I believe, 40 some odd Cedar Grove Road dumps into the river, where you saw the new bank essentially built in front of, or I should say in the backyard of that individual's home. That is for the drainage of Reiner's Road, which has seen significant flooding because of collapsed pipes between Reiner's Road and the actual Peckman River. And then because of all of the erosion, that pipe or a portion of it had previously washed away. So that work that you've seen actually had to do with the restoration of that pipe, that water drainage, stormwater drainage pipe from Reiner's Road to the Peckman River. The bridge, as I understand, they have done some additional borings because the county has agreed, a lot of thanks to Council President on this, to raise the level of the bridge by a couple of feet to meet new modern requirements and standards. When the bridge was designed, it had met all requirements and standards, but since that time, there was an increase of, I think, 3 feet above the base flood elevation, which the county has agreed to do. But because of that, and the additional height added to the bridge, that means that the width of the bridge is going to be more substantial. So as a result of that, they needed to do additional borings into the ground to ensure that the foundation that they build for this bridge will be sufficient. So there has been work continuing, but unfortunately, any excavator or backhoe or any other machine you've seen there, or bucket loader you've seen there recently, had nothing to do with the bridge itself.
Mr. Barone, does that answer your 3 questions? Mr. Barone?
May I have to unmute?
Has unmute. You got to keep unmute.
I'm off mute now. Sorry about that. Yes, it does very thoroughly. Thank you very much. And Mr. Mayor, as for the State of the Town address, appreciate, as always, the thorough transparency. And I happen to agree. It's been a pretty great 8 years. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? So no hands up? No one's going to come before us in the council chambers. Can I have a meeting to close the public?
So move.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilwoman Habbitts. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. The consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman Patel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Before we take a vote, the affordable housing, the mayor and I sat with John Barry, quite extensive to go over to get that number reduced. I concur with the counselor of the fine work he did to do that. Mayor, you want to add anything on that resolution on G?
Sure. Thank you, Council President. The one thing I would like to add, just to ensure it's on the record here, is that the state initially indicated that the township had a prospective obligation of 285 total units. That was the obligation that the state had dictated that they believed was the reasonable number based upon their land assessment for Little Falls. working with Mr. Barry and going through a very, very thorough review of every single area that the DCA had highlighted as developable for us, he had very good reasoning to reduce the number to 174 units, a reduction of 111 units from where the DCA had originally indicated we should be. And to the counselor's point, some of the land that was selected was owned by water companies and has water infrastructure underneath the properties where they would just simply not be developable, or were owned by the reservoirs. And many of the areas that were highlighted and reviewed with a deep analysis by Mr. Barry are, in my opinion, clearly not developable under any circumstance. And for that square footage or that area to be included as an area where the state or DCA found it reasonable to add any type of structure whatsoever, never mind the affordable housing component of it, is ridiculous. And I wholly concur with Mr. Barr's review and analysis and report that he has provided to the township.
Just so we know, I'm going to take a wild guess. We will probably have to do the 174 units. What would the township be looking at? How many units is that? Is that like 1,600 units off the top of my head? Am I off?
So at a 15% set aside, Council
Right.
President, the 1,200 units would result in 180 affordable units at a 15% set aside. So we would be looking at somewhere between 11 and 1,200 total units in order to achieve even this obligation.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Havlet?
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes, Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 1508.
Introduction of ordinance number 1508, an ordinance entitled Ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code, Chapter 71 fees, Recreation Department fees, with a second reading and public hearing scheduled for February 24th, 2025.
Have a motion to introduce 1508.
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Havelitz,
Second.
second by Councilman Vanchery. Please call the roll to introduce 1508.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Havlet?
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes. Madam Clerk, 1509, please.
Introduction of ordinance number 1509, an ordinance entitled Ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code, Chapter 71 fees, Building Department fees, with a second reading and public hearing scheduled for February 24th, 2025.
Have a motion to introduce 1509.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Vanchery,
Second.
second by Councilman Murphy. Madam Clerk, call the roll to introduce 1509.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Havlet?
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes. Madam Clerk, 1510.
Introduction of ordinance number 1510, an ordinance entitled Ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code, Chapter 109, Land Use Procedures, with a second reading and public hearing scheduled for February 24th, 2025.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to introduce 1510?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Patel, second by Councilwoman Havelitz. Please call the roll to introduce 1510.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Havlet?
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes. Madam Clerk, 1511, please.
Introduction of ordinance number 1511, an ordinance entitled An Ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, to amend Chapter 7 on street regulations of the Code of the Township of Little Falls, with a second reading and public hearing scheduled for February 24th, 2025.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to introduce 1511?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Vanchery, second by Councilwoman Havelitz. Please call the roll to introduce 1511.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Havlet?
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes. Can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public for general matters?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Patel, second by Councilman Vanchery. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk.
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the Council President. It is preferred if you give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the council president will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you. The floor is now open. Is there anyone in our chat that'd like to speak? I don't see no hands up. Thank you. Anyone in our council chambers that would like to speak? Seeing no one. Have a motion to close to the public comment.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Vanchery, second by Councilman Murphy. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Can I have a motion to go into executive session? No action will be taken.
So
Moved.
Moved by Councilman Patel, second by Councilman Murphy. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We'll go into executive session. I have a motion to return to open session.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Vanchery, second by Councilman Murphy. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? I'd like to thank the staff for assisting me in putting this meeting together. Can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Hablitz, second by Councilman Vanchery. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? This meeting is now closed.